Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. We are live from SellerCon again in Vegas, morning, day 2. Today I've got Jamie Davison with me. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. So, do you want to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure, Danny. Yeah, so again, Jamie Davidson. I run a program called AMZ Insiders, a community of people that sell on Amazon. We have a coaching and consulting program, but most people know us as one of the larger sellers on Amazon. Myself and my 2 co-founders sell a little over $100 million a year on Amazon. And we have locations in, we run out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we have a much bigger team over in Shenzhen, China.
I mean, hitting 100 million, that's absolutely incredible. Talk to me about the levels, right? So you got 6, 7, and 8 figure level. What does it? You went through from the 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So walk me through the stages, your hat you wore through the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9 in terms as a business owner.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so early on, we started selling in 2011. Our growth, we're in the cell phone accessories category. We grew quite quick. Initially, we had corporate backgrounds. We put in about $100K each early on, so we had some capital to get after it. But once we saw the opportunity, and so we kind of blew through the 7-figure mark pretty, within the year, or multi-7 figures within the year. But from there, it was, so initially it's, craziness, of course, of all of the, and, I meet lots of people here too that are doing in that 7-figure range where they're kind of stuck between, they're doing everything themselves and they are, but they're kind of stuck to scale, but they don't know how to kind of get to that next step. But for us, so there was that element of that period. We did build a team in a warehouse early on and got up to about, the $25 million mark and kind of that $25 to $40 million mark. We had a team in place. We were good. We were kind of a little bit stuck between, I'll call it 40, 50 million, which big number. But to get to that next number, what kind of the short version of this at least is what really took us there was my one of my co-founders, Jason, moved back over to China about 3 years ago, and we just really scaled the team in China and Shenzhen. And with processes, we have over 200 people there now, and that's really kind of is what's taken us from like 60 million to like really accelerate past the 9-figure mark.
Definitely. I mean, I've spent time in Shenzhen. I've spoken at events over there. You might know Michael Michelini. He does the Cross-Border Summit. It's an incredible city. Like what I've seen parts of China, but most people think of smog and they think of factories. Shenzhen is just on a completely different level. And some of the setups I've seen there, like I can understand how you're able to scale. What's interesting, you've stayed in that market, very tough on Amazon. It's the number 1 toughest area. You're going up against the Chinese, but what you've done is you've made inroads into China and set up your own team. How have you seen the level of competition, the black hat stuff that you've seen, and how do you stave that off?
Yes, that's a great question. One, it's always ongoing. There just may, people never really going to talk a lot about it, and they may say they don't. For us, it's been, we've told Amazon, we've met with them before, like, hey, if we followed all of your rules, we'd have no business. So the reality is that's the truth of it. At times, it's about finding the right balance for kind of where you want to push the line and where we're at now. As ourselves become a really bigger brand, a bigger business, we have to be more careful because we were much more aggressive in the past so we try to stay clear of that. But there's definitely we call it like the gray hat stuff, right? Everything in between, you're still getting after it. Sometimes when Amazon does get a better job and they catch up, they're usually, a little behind in terms of understanding what's going on, and they put in process. I mean, we don't mind it. They clean the platform up. That's good for, for everyone. That, it means you don't have to battle with that, but there's always new things coming on. So I don't know if it's just because there's so much money at stake for everybody. There's always going to be new techniques people are coming after. Yeah. But ultimately, to run a business and be successful with it, it's never just, those hacks or black hat. You need to be able to run the whole thing. You need to be able to build a brand, actually have systems and operations and all that. So if you're only, someone's only black hat or they're focused just on that side of it, typically they're going to struggle, having a large financially successful business. Cool.
So what do you give or get for someone? What gets you out at 100 million? What gets you out of bed in the morning? It's obviously not money.
Yeah, so we're still, competitive in terms of, where we want to get to. We've had different stages in terms of even motivations with the business. Yeah. So, what we're trying to do with the business, we've gotten, the margins of the business at that level aren't as high. We have a lot of team members and everything else. So over the years, there's been some suppression. So, we're looking to potentially try to double the business of the years and see how big we get. As big as, it seems we are compared to individual entrepreneurs in terms of companies and corporations out there. There's plenty of companies that are, much bigger than us. And even in China, people with, teams of thousands of people versus, us having a couple hundred. But we'll probably exit in the next couple of years at some point, and we will. And we're also focused in, enjoying the AMZ Insiders, the services, and helping other people. We think that's just a really growing industry, just with everything that's going on out there. And we feel like we're well positioned because we, having built this stuff from scratch, we understand what we think helps other people as well.
Yeah. So talk to me about systems. Obviously, you have a lot of systems, SOPs. What role does that play in your business, and how do those systems change because they can break as you're going up through the money tree to different levels? Yeah,
so that was one of our, I'd say, key advantages early on, just because one partner, Jason, he was an IT, that was his background. He's a software consultant, IT background for Microsoft. And so early on he built, he kind of took the lead on building we use like NetSuite and customized a lot of solutions there, because you find actually a lot of the people, the most successful people we've seen on Amazon, a lot of them have IT backgrounds, technology backgrounds, because at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of tech to it, but to actually scale your business and run to it, you need to have that side of it. So, for us, it's been huge in terms of everything we do, from, managing our logistics, which of course gets complex when you start getting stuff, not only the number of SKUs that we have, but also just the number of global locations that we sell in, how we manage that. So we've tried to systematize really everything that we've got. Everything, even the most simple things of creating a listing, how that works. It goes from China, it goes back to our U.S. team to review it. It goes back to China. Everything is basically has an SOP, and you really need to. Even the people I talk to that are maybe doing $2 million a year trying to get the next thing. A lot of times that's kind of the piece that they don't really have in place, and they're running stuff off spreadsheets. And it's this business can get big and complex fast.
Yeah, mindset as well plays a big role, doesn't it? It was like for you guys, you've had to have a vision. Like most people have exited way beforehand, haven't they? But like I'm interested to understand like why are you waiting this long? I understand you've got to 100 million, but what's the why waiting to exit? There's a lot of guys out there who will exit at 1, 2, 3, 4 million, get a nice multiple, and off they go. But you put it on steroids. What's the story?
Yeah, part of it is it's just like the return on capital and the opportunity. We just saw that as you put money into this, and with our abilities, the return we could get was so much bigger than other things we could look at outside of this. And we have looked at some other stuff, like even other companies we're looking at, and sometimes you get into it a little bit while we're doing this at different stages, like at the $40 million mark in sales or $50 million, and realize like, oh, some of those businesses are for us are really difficult, and we're not that good at it, and it makes us reappreciate the business we've built so far, and we've gotten back into it. But you do look at, and each of us have done different side investments and projects and everything else, but we just continue. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still only 2011, 2012, so that's 7-8 years into it, and we feel like that's not that long a time. If people stay in jobs for 10, 12, 15 years doing, just collecting a salary yet. We just, as long as we saw the growth that was there and the potential, that, we've just stayed excited about it. And also it always helps you see other people, so we've seen people in China that just scaled so much bigger and faster than us than we did. And that's what kind of motivated us to chase that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about the Chinese, that mindset. I think people don't understand until you go to China, you don't get it. That work ethic, the study, the training and everything. Because a lot of people talk about black hat and stuff. They don't see the other side. They see the graft and levels that some people in the Western culture just won't work to the bone that way to get there. And it's quite inspiring to see that side of things.
Yeah, I mean, along with that, just the workforce that exists in China, specifically for Amazon, is like unlike anything you'll see in the world. There's millions of people focused on specific skill sets for Amazon. So if we need to hire a French-speaking Amazon content writer in China, we can hire that person like in a week. All right, so to build out our different sites and everything else. In the U.S., we're in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have a good team there, but it's really hard to find people to do certain things or to retain people. In China, you have this level of expertise, the amount of training they focus. I mean, all over China, you'll have live trainings like every week that thousands of people will go to learn a new skill set. So there's just this core competency that exists there in the workforce as well too, in addition to what you talk about, the work ethic and the approach. So it makes a big difference.
Permissions of scale there. The people can. That's why I think people don't understand. Is like, oh, take it back to the US manufacturing, all that kind of stuff. We talk about iPhones and how they get built. I mean, you can't go and get 30,000 workers and go, right, we need this, but you can in China. They've got that permissions of scale that nowhere else exists, really.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just as you said, it's hard to kind of imagine unless you've been part of it, but it certainly allows the ability to, that to me is kind of what allows you to put the business on steroids. If, again, you still have to have the right systems, you got to have the right approach, you got to make the right choices, but that ability is, a lot of the bigger businesses we're seeing, that model is not, we're not unique in that way. There's other entities doing that, and that's really, and it helps. My co-founders are both native from China, so that helped just, in terms of us getting set up there with our team, and we have basically have a general manager that oversees that office for us, and we just keep continuing to build it.
Sounds good. So while we're at SellerCon, what brings you here?
Yeah, sure. So first thing that brought me here was Manny Coates and Helium 10 invited me to a party, which was cool. So we said we're going to come out and check it out. And typically we haven't gone to a lot of events in the past years. And it was funny, at lunch someone asked me about, when they heard the size of our business, they assumed I went through these guys' course, and I kind of laughed. So no, we hadn't been through the course. And but really, it's also great. These are great opportunities to connect with people and meet like yourself and others. We probably don't do enough of this type of stuff, so it's been great. Just you get invited to a couple different things, and a couple of people in our AMZ Insiders are here as well too. So it's been great to meet with them as well.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get you on the show and doing more in depth with you over the next few months. Thanks. We're signing off. Take care.